Let's look ahead to Sunday's 2 live Premier League games, and then we've got a Monday night football special as well, which is good news. 1:30, Brighton versus Southampton. Cannot think how the media will be billing this one. Brighton with a great win against West Ham last time. Southampton, a little bit of a morale booster with their most recent performance. So, how do we bet here, Ed Quigley?
Yeah, so Brighton are 9-4, the draw is 21-10, and Southampton are 7-5.
Ed, you can go first.
Yeah, it's a tough game to call. I mean, Brighton's home form has been pretty impressive. They've won 2, drawn 1 and lost 1, and that admittedly was the City on the opening weekend of the Premier League. And then Southampton's away form is 1-1, drawn 1, lost 1. Look, 2 out of their 3 games has been under 2.5 away from home as well. They've changed formation in the last 2 games. I've noticed Southampton, they're playing with obviously Gabbiadini and Shane Long up top, and that is giving them more of an attacking threat. Now it's also leaving them a little bit more open. But I thought they actually hammered West Brom last weekend, and West Brom were lucky to only get away with a 1-0 loss. The unders here is pitched at 8-15, so I think the draw would be my tentative selection here at 21-10.
Do you think people aren't making enough of how good their goal was last week? That was absolutely superb, wasn't it? The way he made those 2 defenders run into each other.
I just feel if it was still watching.
If he was a high-profile player like an Eden Hazard, I think that would be goal of the season, absolute certainty. But
it was like Hoddle, when Hoddle used to just walk, really low velocity, just dribble past it.
Yeah, the game at Oxford comes to mind. I was there actually as a boy.
Oh, what a game that was. So, Dan, what's going to happen here at the Goldstone?
I think Brighton look a bit overpriced. I mean, everyone was battering West Ham. I mean, they were bad in that game, but nobody gave much credit to Brighton. I thought it was a really good performance from them, and I was worried before the game about their goal threat. But Murray's got his 2 goals, good header.
He could have had some more as well.
Could have had some more. So he stepped up to the plate there, and the 2 wingers. I mean, is Cuerdo? He's come in on a club record buy. Was playing starting games on the bench. I think that was one of his first starts, and he looked good as well. Got his goal. Hart maybe should have saved it. It was a very good strike, and Knockhart is starting to look the part as well. So they've got 2 good wingers who can both score goals. The 2 centre backs were superb as well, Duffy and Dunk. I mean, absolutely one of the best pairs, I would say, outside of the top clubs in the league. And Southampton, I'm still not convinced by them at the moment. I mean, they needed that Boufal goal there, to nick the points against West Brom. I'm looking ahead at their fixtures coming up. They've got to play 6 of the next 12 games to the end of the year. 6 of them are against the Big 6. So, puts a lot of pressure on games, on the other matches.
What's the bet then, Daniel?
Well, it's got to be Brighton. 9-4 is overpriced.
Now, you're talking about Duncan Duffy. My tweet of the week last week, someone said the first 7 names on the Brighton team sheet for that game against West Ham sound like a stag weekend roll call. Yeah. Ryan, Bruno, Bong, Dunk, Duffy, Proper and Gross. Absolutely super.
I think it was Duncan Alexander, wasn't it?
It was very clever, very good indeed. Mark, what's going to happen?
I'm in agreement with Ed in terms of, low goal expectancy brings the draw very much into play. Just wonder with Brighton, they got the early goal against West Ham last week, and that does make life a lot easier, particularly in a stadium that's very tense as it is. I think Southampton could also be suited to playing away from St Mary's, where they're not, having to force the issue. I thought they were very unlucky when they lost at Stoke. I wouldn't be surprised if this one finished 0-0. Actually, no goal scorer. Looks a big runner. I don't know what we've done to deserve so much of Southampton on our telly box in recent weeks. But
just using up their quota on sides that aren't going to be pressing for Europe or going down.
I mean, Dan was speaking about Brighton being very solid at the back. Their midfield, Lamina and Romeo, is very good for Southampton, which enables them to control matches, but they just don't seem to have the kind of attacking intent, really, even if he plays attacking players. So I think no goal scorer as a runner.
OK, I was going to say this at 4 o'clock is the managerless derby, Leicester v Everton, but it's not anymore because Claude Puel has gotten the nod for Leicester. And you can imagine when that news broke, all the Leicester fans were thinking, God, Claude Puel. And then sort of going, but hang on a sec, we did say the same about Claudio Ranieri, and look where that got them. But doesn't seem like the most inspired appointment. The lads will talk about that once we've had the match prices from Paddy Power's Ed Quigley.
So Leicester are 11-10, Bruce. The draw is 12-5, and Everton are 13-5.
OK, Mark, before we talk about what's going to happen in the game, quick word about Claude Puel.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was a bit harshly treated at Southampton. Now, the fans didn't enjoy the football, and they were games that had no goals in them. It's very low goal expectancy. A bit that hasn't changed much since he left. And he took them to a cup final. He did very well in France as well. I mean, it's not an amazing appointment by Leicester, but it's a pretty solid one, I feel. And I mean, Southampton haven't got any better since he left, have
No,
they? So I
fair
mean, that's
point.
always I think what I'm looking for in terms of the influence of a manager. He used to speak quite negatively in the press, and I mean that maybe that doesn't do him. Yeah, it didn't do him any favours. You know, you get some managers that are very good in. I mean, Jurgen Klopp would be someone that's very good in terms of getting everybody on side, and then people forgive sort of bad results. Puel is kind of the complete opposite of a Jurgen Klopp type.
My concern, though, Mark, is that the Leicester dressing room, and don't forget, it still does contain pretty much all those players who won the league. They're very powerful, aren't they? And, you know, you hear about this, they didn't like Ranier in the end and they wanted Shakespeare, blah, blah, blah. Will they take to him, do you think?
There may be a question mark about that. I suppose Appleton could have a big job to play in that respect, because obviously he's staying on as the number 2. That they responded quite well to him. So it maybe depends if Appleton behaves like Shakespeare did when Ranieri was having his problems, or whether he kind of gets behind the role that he's there. I mean, I tend to think that maybe we should give the Leicester players the benefit of the doubt here, and I think they're an okay price to beat Everton, who've got all sorts of problems at the moment. 2 wins in 14, 8 defeats in 12.
What is the main
David
problem
Unsworth.
there?
I would say there's a few. Lack of pace in the team defensively, the major issue. I mean, do you remember when people said that Arsenal should have bought Ashley Williams? I mean, he doesn't look like he should be playing in League Two at the moment. So you've got like Jagielka, Ashley Williams, Leighton Baines in that back three,
Keane
4, 5.
struggling as well. Keane has not looked, anywhere near his form when he was at Burnley.
But I think it's easier when you're a centre back at Burnley because of the way they play and the way they protect their defenders.
Yeah.
I mean, now people are saying about Tarkowski and me being, potential England players. Yeah,
more exposed now.
Yeah, they're more exposed, and it's harder when you're asked to play 15 yards further up the pitch. It becomes a more difficult job, I think, playing centre half. So I think that's one issue, and there's a clear unbalance in the squad. No striker and a load of number 10s that are probably overrated.
So you're just going
as
to lump
well.
on Leicester, eh, Mark?
I wouldn't
Not
say lump
but...
on, but I mean, in terms of the 3 match outcomes, Leicester look the most obvious one to me at odds against.
Dan Childs?
Yeah, I think Leicester are a pretty solid bet here. I don't think you can even argue that the players stopped playing for Shakespeare. I mean, you look at their early season fixture list and they had so many tough games. I'm not sure their points take is that much lower than you kind of would have expected it to be. So, no, they've won 2 games, under it was Appleton as caretaker. I don't think Puel coming in is going to change that drastically. And Everton, to me, just look, as I've mentioned before, look such an ordinary side at the moment. Don't look like they're going to score goals and weak at the back. So I think the other key thing with Leicester's recent improvement, Mahrez is starting to play a lot better now as well. Last couple of weeks, and he could be the match winner here.
Okay, so 2 votes for Leicester. Ed Quigley, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I just I actually think that Leicester feel a little bit short here. Now, just on the Puel appointment, like last season when he was in charge of Southampton, and Southampton as a club seemed to go off shorter prices than I would have anticipated myself last season. So maybe that's something Leicester hierarchy looked into when they appointed him. But he was definitely highly rated by the syndicates when he was managing Southampton anyway. So that is something there. But look, they've had a decent week. They beat Swansea away, and they've obviously won the cup midweek against Leeds as well. Everton, on the other hand, they've had I suppose an equally as difficult opening amount of run of fixtures as Leicester, and both have obviously disposed of their managers now as well. I think Vardy's pace will cause, Mark touched on it there, that ageing backline of Everton's a lot of problems. But I just at the prices for me, I think I'll go for the draw here. Everybody's kind of neg on Everton at the minute, and that's feeding into the Leicester price. So yeah, I think it's gone a little bit short now. So yeah, 12-5 the draw. But if you do fancy Leicester, I would say obviously back Leicester, but yeah, Vardy 7-2 as well could be a play as well, because his pace will hurt that back line.